Hey everybody, it's Pastor Vern for Tuesday, November 17th, 2020. I did not get a one out for the 16th, so if you were looking for it, just didn't get it done. Other things came up yesterday that I needed to attend to, so we're going to get back going with them again. Some things I wanted to lift up to you as we get going. Uh, St. Ed and Fullerton are not going to meet for the on the 22nd and the 29th of November to try to take a break because of the COVID thing. Hopefully, we can get back going again. Also, I don't know exact the well. There you go. The Thanksgiving service we're going to cancel because it's probably not pertinent to bring folks from the different communities together. And another thing, we're trying to figure out what Christmas Eve is going to look like. We don't know where we're going to be in the virus meter by then. So kind of stay tuned and watch the Facebook page, other resources to kind of know how that's going to work. We're going to figure something out, but I don't know exactly what it's going to be. All right. So we're going to continue on some of the daily life and Bible times for a while. I just find this a little interesting. Plus, I need to do some work on some things here that will be a more longer term or a deeper thing that we can move to next. But until we get past some of these hurdles, that's going to be a little tough to do. But these are kind of interesting. It kind of gives us an idea of how people lived during Jesus's time and what things would have influenced some of the way they perceived this man, this wandering rabbi from Galilee, when he came onto the scene. What we're going to talk a little bit about homes today that the Jewish people would have had. The homes would have been mostly made out of earth materials, rock, mud, made into walls, those kind of things. There was not a lot of lumber available in that part of the world at that time. And so, and it's like most places, like we remember stories of the Great Plains here. When people came here, they built sod houses because that's what was available to them to use for materials. Different places, they used different materials. We have log cabins in places that were more heavily treed. And so we got all those kind of different factors, and in their case, it would have been some type of construction of stone and plaster, mud, whatever they could use to build them. And they had kind of there was kind of a pattern of design to them. Oftentimes there was a one big room that served for most of the purposes of the house. It would serve for the living room, the kitchen, the dining area would kind of be in this area. Sleeping quarters were sometimes had something of a wall, but oftentimes they were part of that big room also, or they were partitioned off by some type of fabrics. Not a lot of privacy in these homes, but that's the way it was at that point. They tend to be a little bit stark because of the material they were made out of. But there was a feature on the way that the Hebrews, the Jews, built their homes that was unique. They would almost always build them with a flat roof. Now, there was a purpose for this because they also had stairways up to that flat roof. And the idea was this was a place that served a lot of purposes in this kind of crowded household. Sometimes there'd be multi-generations living in basically a one-room building. But the roofs were flat, and they were a good place to go up and cool off when if you could catch a cool breeze during the rather hot days that they would have during a good share of the year. They were good for, they were kind of used like what we used porches for 100 years ago or 75 years ago. Chat with your neighbors and sit out and converse in the evening. They would more likely be out on their roofs than some kind of porch like we would have. They didn't really have those too much, and they would just kind of be able to watch their neighborhood. kind of watch how the kids were playing, kind of watch maybe people who were coming in that maybe were newcomers and or maybe suspicious for some reason. And it even had a more practical level because up there you could, because they were level and stone or some type of plaster, usually maybe over a thatch roof. They would ripen fruit and vegetables. They'd dry their cloth, their flax or their cloth, and they would that would be where you'd hang your washing, I guess you would say, to dry. And so there was both a social aspect to them and a practical aspect. So that's a little bit about the typical house that Jesus would have traveled to. We hear about him staying in people's homes, being welcomed in to their houses, and that would be typically what you would find in that area during Jesus' time. All right. Well, you guys take good care of yourselves, watch out for others the best you can, and stay safe.